They ditched my baby shower, leaving a 30-cent note with the bartender. Sold your car. We're flying first class. Be happy for us. I whispered, I am. Then I drove home with two movers, collected every gift I had given, snapped a photo, and sent it to the family chat. 55 messages. One email from someone I thought I'd lost. But the real surprise was my mom's message. He's coming home. Be kind. I had envisioned my baby shower as the pinnacle of joy, a day bathed in the golden light of new beginnings. Instead, it became an indelible marker, the moment my own mother and sister etched their true value of me onto a crumpled napkin with a 30-cent tip. What came next? Well, brace yourself. Each swing of the venue door sent a jolt of nervous anticipation through me. Asterisk, maybe this time. Maybe now. Asterisk, but it never was. Just another polite face, another well-wisher, never the ones I longed to see. A coworker, my old college roommate, then sweet Mrs. Lynn from downstairs, struggling with a gift bag twice her size. The soft strains of the band, the delicate tulips adorning every table, the flawless three-tiered cake, white and gold, adorned with sugar peonies I'd personally chosen and paid for. Every detail. I nodded vaguely when guests praised my efforts, feigning composure. Inside, my baby fluttered, a tiny rebellion against the tightening knot in my stomach. I focused on that flutter, willing myself to ignore the glaring emptiness of the chair beside me, and the one next to it, and the one across. James, a kind soul from legal, leaned in, his brows furrowed with unspoken worry. Still no sign? He murmured. I mustered a weak smile. Running late, I suppose. He simply handed me a card, adorned with a dapper duck, a small gesture of humanity, and drifted away. Minutes later, Claire, my steadfast friend since high school, raised her glass. Her eyes met mine. To the strongest woman I know, she declared, and applause filled the room. I smiled, a brittle thing. Those chairs remained, stubbornly, devastatingly vacant. No call, no text, no hollow explanation. Just an echoing void where their presence should have been. As I rose to thank my guests, my hands trembled as I grasped the microphone. Thank you for coming, I whispered, my voice barely steady. It means more than you know. I scanned the sea of faces, colleagues, neighbors, old classmates, people who remembered my birthday, offered to paint the nursery, brought extra cupcakes just in case. But not my mother, not my sister. No one who shared my blood. My heart, a leaden weight, pulled me back to the table as the applause softened. That's when the young bartender, visibly nervous, approached. In his hand, a folded piece of paper and a check receipt. Someone asked me to give this to you, he said, his gaze apologetic. Said you'd understand. I unfolded it. 30 cents was scrawled beside a chilling message on a crumpled napkin. Asterisk, sold your car. First class cruise. Be happy for us. Love, Mom and Kayla. Asterisk. For a full, suspended second, I simply stared. The words were a nonsensical jumble. My car gone. My baby shower abandoned. A cruise I was never invited to, funded by my life. The paper shook in my fingers, but my voice remained a steel-edged whisper. I refolded the note, tucked it into my purse, drew one deep, shuddering breath, and murmured to the air around me, I am. Then I simply walked out. The drive home was a blur of silence. No tears, no desperate calls, no primal screams. At a red light, a gentle kick from within, a tiny, defiant reminder that I was not truly alone. And then, a searing clarity. They hadn't merely skipped my baby shower. They had sold my car. The car I had paid off entirely last November. The car that shuttled me to every doctor's appointment, every prenatal class, to the pharmacy in the dead of night when sleep eluded me. The cruise they flaunted, 7 nights, first class, a balcony cabin. The exact dream package Kayla had playfully shown me just 3 weeks prior. Can you imagine dropping $7,000 just to sit on a boat and tan? She'd scoff then. Apparently, they could, as long as it was my $7,000. At home, I pulled the little blue folder from the hall closet. Receipts, invoices, irrefutable proof. I may not be a lawyer, but I have always documented everything. Always. $3,000. The full furniture set for Kayla's first apartment. Promised repayment never materialized. 3 years ago, $1,200. The flat screen I'd gifted Mom 2 Christmases past. She'd wept, "You're too generous." $850. The washer-dryer combo from last year's Prime sale, installed by me while they vacationed. $2,400. The gray sectional Kayla had to have after her last breakup. "I'll pay you back," she'd vowed. "Just not this month." That was merely the beginning. By the time my tally hit 10,000, I simply stopped. They never repaid me, never even offered. And now, they'd seized the one thing I hadn't willingly given, my car. That's when I made the calls. 2 of them. First, to a moving company, Ram Logistics, run by a guy I knew from next door. I rattled off 3 addresses. Second, to Claire. "I need you to drive the truck," I stated. "I'll handle the rest." She didn't hesitate. "Be there in 40, she replied. By the time the movers arrived, every item that was unequivocally mine bore a post-it note. Every gift, every favor, every shred of my generosity they had absorbed as if by divine right. Claire pulled up, a black baseball cap pulled low, chewing on a protein bar. "You're glowing," she observed. "Rage," I corrected, a cold smile forming. We started with Mom's condo. The movers were quiet, efficient, professional. I pointed to the fridge, gifted December 2022. They unplugged it. Then the TV, the Dyson, the custom bookshelf Kayla had found on Instagram. Next, Kayla's apartment. The couch, the wall mirror, the espresso machine, all gone. A neighbor poked her head out, curious. "Is she moving?" she asked. "She doesn't know yet," I said, the cold smile now firmly in place. By sundown, the truck was full. I didn't sell anything. Not yet. I simply parked it in a friend's garage and took a photo. Then, into the family group chat, I posted it, captioned, $112,784.63 reimbursed. Not to shame them, but to acknowledge quietly, clearly, the monumental imbalance. Then I turned off my phone. By 9:42 a.m. the next morning, the consequences hit like hailstones on glass. The first ping was from Kayla. "What is wrong with you?" No greeting, no punctuation. Then 3 ellipses. "You took the couch." I ignored it, brewing tea in the kitchen. My hands were steady, adrenaline a low hum. My OBGYN forbade caffeine, but I needed clarity, not fuel. The kettle whistled as more messages flooded in. "You shouldn't have done that. Return the couch. Today. You're acting crazy." I returned to my living room. No flat screen, no sleek espresso machine. Just my old TV, a chipped mug, and profound peace. Only the faint echo of my steps in an apartment that felt freshly moved into, or perhaps freshly abandoned. Each vanished item carried a memory. The dining table I'd built for $80, on which I'd hosted 6 holidays. Gone. The full-length mirror Kayla borrowed because the lighting's better at your place. Gone. The espresso machine they'd mocked as unnecessary until they started showing up every weekend for cappuccinos. Gone. Another ping. "Mom, this time, did you really take those things from home?" Hormones. Of course. The fallback. Dismissal. Shame. Guilt. They'd skipped my baby shower, stolen my car, left a 30-cent insult, and I was the unstable one. I didn't reply. At 11:08 a.m., her call came. I watched the screen, letting it buzz, letting it ring. Then I picked up. Her voice was already a simmer. "You think this is funny? What you did?" "No," I stated calmly. "I think it's balanced. You took our furniture." "My furniture," I corrected, my voice unwavering. "Bought with my money. Delivered under my name." "You're so spiteful lately. It's disturbing." I swallowed, not from rage or tears, but from a weary clarity. "You mean I stopped handing things over without question? That's what's disturbing." Silence. Then, the concern-laced tone she reserved for pre-holiday de-escalation. "We just thought, with the baby coming, you'd be too busy for Kayla. We wanted to give her a little something, a gesture to remind her she still matters. You wouldn't want her stressed, would you?" Funny. I chuckled, a hollow sound. "You didn't worry about my stress, sitting alone in that venue, explaining to confused guests why half the RSVPs were no-shows. She felt bad about that. No, I snapped. She felt entitled to a week in Tulum and figured I'd understand. Like always. Mom's voice dropped. She's your sister. You're supposed to support each other. I did, I said. For 10 years. Rent. Phones. Loans. Your dishwasher. The fridge. Streaming services. Couches. The car. I thought you liked doing those things. I laughed. That awful, sad laugh you give when someone brazenly rewrites your own history before your eyes. I like having a family. Then why are you tearing it apart? No, I said quietly. I'm just refusing to hold it up on my own anymore. I hung up. At 12:42 p.m., Kayla arrived, pounding on my door as if she owned the building. Through the peephole, I watched her pace, clad in that hoodie from her vacation photos. The same ones where her boyfriend, grinning, held my car keys beside my license plates. You made me look like a monster, she shrieked. People are asking why we didn't come to the shower. I cracked the door, chain still on. Maybe tell them the truth. She blinked. Which version? I pressed. The one where you forgot? The one where it was too far to drive? Or the one where you took the only way I had to bring my son home from the hospital? That was a joke, she stammered. The bartender thing. We were tipsy. You left a printed note, taped to a check with a heart emoji. I countered. God, you're so sensitive. No, I said, weariness heavy in my voice. I'm just done. I needed that couch. I'm nesting too. I'm pregnant, and you've had a village. I've had invoices. She pulled a pink rattle from her pocket, let drop. It bounced, cheap plastic clicking against tile. You're punishing my child. That stopped me. I stared. For the first time, I saw it. The manipulation wasn't even about me anymore. It was generational. She wanted to perpetuate the cycle. I'm protecting mine, I stated, and closed the door. At 4:03 p.m., an email arrived. Subject, heard what happened. It was from Dad. I hadn't heard from him in over 6 months, not since his retirement and cross-country RV trip with Lark, his kombucha brewing partner. His message was brief. Your mother told me everything. I'm sorry you went through that. I wasn't always present. I know that, but I'm proud of how you handled yourself. I'll be in town this week. Want to grab coffee? Just us then. P.S. The car was registered in your name. No legal transfer. If you want help filing, I'm here. I stared at the screen, then at the empty space where the couch once stood. The seat where they'd crashed when they had nowhere else. The place I'd spent all night comforting Kayla's broken heart. Empty now, yes, but not lonely. Reclaimed. I poured another cup of tea. And finally, for the first time in weeks, I smiled. This wasn't rage. This was clarity. A clarity I didn't shout about, but lived quietly, steadily, unapologetically. And I wasn't done. Then a ding. Not the chat. An email from Mike Reynolds. His name shimmered on the screen like a ghost. Subject, I saw. Time, 1:14 a.m. I clicked it open. Camila, I was at the venue. I didn't want to interrupt, and honestly, I wasn't sure I had the right to, but I saw the note. The bartender showed it to me after. I saw the way you held it together. I saw you smile, then vanish. I'm sorry for not reaching out sooner. I should have years ago, but if you ever want to talk, coffee, vent, anything, I'm here. You deserve more than what they gave you. You always did. And I hope you know that what you did today, that took strength most people only dream of. Mike, I hadn't realized I was crying until I tasted salt. Mike, the boy from college who stayed by my side through every finals week, who wrote dumb poems and made playlists, who once asked if my family truly saw me. We drifted. Life. Work. Kayla had never liked him, called him too soft. Now, his softness felt like an anchor. I didn't respond. Not yet. But I read the email 3 times. Then came the final text from Mom, 3:02 a.m. Mom, he's coming home. Be gentle. I froze. I read it again. He's coming home. The air around me shifted. He wasn't Kayla's ex or some distant cousin. It was my father, the one who bought the car in my name years ago when I needed reliable transport for work. The one who later moved out, divorced Mom quietly, and vanished to Arizona to live a quiet life, far from family drama. The one who used to say, I'll be the silent one. Your mother's got enough fire for both of us. He had been silent for years. Until now. I texted back. Me? What do you mean? No answer. But that morning, I received a voicemail. Dad. His first words in 4 years. Camila, I just wanted to say I know about everything, and I'm sorry I wasn't there when this started. But I'm here now. I filed a report about the car. It's legally in your name. They can't just sell it. It's already flagged. There will be consequences. I just wanted you to hear it from me. He paused, then added, I'm proud of you, kid. I should have said it sooner. I sat on the floor for 20 minutes more. Kayla tried calling 5 times. Mom emailed one line. You've gone too far. Fix it. I didn't reply. I opened the group chat again. It was a war zone of backpedaling and excuses. Kayla, okay, maybe it was out of line. Mom, the bartender misunderstood. We meant it to be funny. Kayla, Kim, you took it too seriously. Mom, family makes mistakes. Then this from Mom. But this, you don't come back from this. That one hit differently. I whispered aloud to no one. I made tea, sat by the window, contemplating the baby still turning inside me like a quiet tide. Then I texted Mike. Thanks for writing. I remember the poems. He replied instantly. I still have them. Want one? I laughed. For the first time in weeks, it wasn't forced. A month passed, not as time marching forward, but as something releasing its suffocating grip on me. A silence that didn't echo, but breathed. My son arrived early, 2 weeks before his due date. No drama, no fanfare, no gas in waiting rooms, no balloons, no handmade signs. Just a cold delivery room and a single nurse whispering, You're almost there. As I pushed through a pain I thought I couldn't survive, I did. And the moment I heard that cry, sharp, wet, defiant, I knew he was here. He was mine, and no one could diminish him, or me, ever again. They hadn't called. Not during labor. Not when I was wheeled in. Not when I left the hospital with my newborn and a rideshare waiting at the curb. The people who had claimed to be family had vanished the moment they realized I wouldn't come crawling back. But I didn't need crawling. I needed rebuilding. My home had changed. Not just the things, the fridge gone, the borrowed TV, the couch I'd given away. But my space wasn't empty. I replaced every item I'd reclaimed with something I chose. Not out of guilt, but intention. A cheaper, yet more reliable washer. A second-hand sofa with a stain that looked like a flower, making me smile. A flat screen from a friend moving out of town, and shelves filled not with designer knickknacks, but with books I actually read. I no longer saw reminders of what I had given away. I saw only what I had reclaimed. Even the walls felt different, as if they had exhaled alongside me. One night, I lit a candle. Not for relaxation, but to mark an end. The end of a war I hadn't declared, but had to survive. I had won it quietly, without press releases. Then came a buzz. A chat. Silent since that night, I'd reclaimed what was mine and sent the photo that had lit up 55 notifications in a family that couldn't be bothered to RSVP to my baby shower. Now, 3 new messages. Kayla, congrats, I heard. Mom, hope everything went okay. Mom, again, can we come visit sometime? Just to see the baby. I stared, devoid of anger or sadness. Just still. This wasn't remorse. This wasn't accountability. It was control rebranded as concern. A test to see if I'd forgotten. But I hadn't. I remembered everything. The note at the baby shower. Asterisk sold your car. Cruising first class. Be happy for us. Asterisk the bartender's hesitant pause, as if he knew this wasn't a joke. The way my heart sank but my spine locked. The friends who'd rallied, bringing lightness where there had been only weight. The movers, kind, quiet, precise, helping me dismantle the years of my generosity. My subsequent silence wasn't passive. It was my power. And now they want to back in, not because they missed me, but because they fear they were missing out. I walked to the nursery. Noah was sleeping, tiny hands curled in a fist near his face. I sat beside him, phone still in hand, rereading the messages. Just to see the baby. They hadn't seen me in months, but they wanted access to him. I thought of Mike's email, the only one from that event without an agenda. He didn't want back in. He just wanted me to know I wasn't invisible. And then, the echo of Mom's second shocker. Asterisk, he's coming home. Be gentle. Asterisk 5 words that twisted my gut. She meant Dad, the one who left, or perhaps was pushed out. The man who'd put the car in my name, then vanished into Arizona. He hadn't spoken to me since, until the legal notice. It was him, He filed a challenge. He invalidated the car's sale. He forced the paperwork into review. He did what no one else had done. He stepped in when something sacred was crossed. And now, he was coming home. Not to Mom. To me. I wasn't sure what that meant. Too many gaps, too many memories still frayed. But it didn't matter. What mattered was that the people who had laughed at me were now scrambling. The group chat, the emails, the backpedaling. But I wasn't walking toward them. I was standing still. Finally, I scrolled to the top of the chat, saw every message since last year. Every joke, every dismissal, every instance they'd ignored or erased me, or used my generosity as a ladder. And I pressed leave group. Are you sure? Yes. I turned off my phone, walked into the living room, picked up Noah, held him, rocked him, letting his warmth settle into my bones, and whispered, "They took my car." I took my silence back. It wasn't about noise. It was about freedom. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with family? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.